one of my good friends is dealing with that right now. It's just so crazy. Like, some guy could come out of left field and be like, yo, I seen your girl, let's say at Nordstrom with the next guy, and it wasn't you. And she was holding him up, kissing him up, and calling him baby and all this stuff. But wasn't that the same time you're trying to call her and she was answering her phone? And then the guy just starts worrying and he starts overthinking about, yo, this girl was with another guy. But low key, she wasn't. He was planting seeds in his head because he wanted to planted his seeds in her.
See, the problem with most people is that they start getting worried or start getting hot.
Yeah.
And then just like blowing up and cussing. But here's an easy way of dealing with that. Ask a question. Talk. See, the problem is that people are so busy running on their emotions and just letting, other people influence how they feel.
Yeah.
They're not asking questions. They're not talking to their partner. And that's the most valuable thing you can do is just, hey, what were you doing last night?
And then they're going to hit you with, why you asking? Like, you're insecure.
Yo, regardless if somebody wants to say that, like, people are always, you know what? It's really funny how, we as men allow, or even people, not even just men and women, allow, their partners to influence them by saying you're insecure, you're feeling this, you're feeling that. It's like, you know what? Maybe you might be insecure, but I'm trying to deal with my insecurity by asking you a question, and I'd like an honest answer. I'd like you to be upfront. So the fact to me is, if I'm asking you a question because I'm feeling a ways about something, and you're deciding that you don't want to answer that question, and you're just going to deflect, that lets me know that there's something wrong. There's an issue. And because if you're keep deflecting and deflecting and deflecting, it's my choice to say, you know what? Since you're not going to answer any of my questions, you're not going to deal with the situation at hand, I'm out. Because you don't have the respect for me to deal with what I'm trying to deal with right now.
Yeah.
If you came to me and asked me a question, right? And I'm just like, yo, what's your problem? I don't know what your deal is. Yo, you need to just relax yourself, blah, blah, blah. Then you can tell you obviously know there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So don't let anyone try to influence you out of dealing with the situation that you need to deal with. Right? Because it's a lot easier. It's so much easier to be honest and upfront and be truthful than to lie and try to deflect. Because it's just going to cause more problems than necessary. You don't need that extra headache whatsoever. All right, so that's just my thoughts. So we're going to roll on to the next one. All right. So our next topic is why men need to stop seeking validation. Maybe we should hit on both males and females, but that's like we'll talk on men first, and then we'll deal with females and validation. All right. So I'm gonna start this off. Men, my dudes, my guys, you really don't need to be seeking validation from anybody, from any female. You don't. And it's the worst to try and seek female validation. And I feel like that's part of the reason why the whole shea butter dudes are out there.
Yeah.
That's partially why the shea butter dudes are out there and why this whole SJW shit. Because you don't want to be lumped in to a category of saying that, especially with the whole thing that women say that, all men are dogs, all men are foul, this and that and the third. So you don't want to get put in that category. So you start looking for the whole, I'm there, I'm a good guy, I'm this and I'm that. It's like, look, if you know you're a good man, you're a good dude, you don't need anybody to tell you that. You just be who you are. You don't need anybody's validation. You don't need. I don't need a woman to tell me that I'm a good man. I don't need a woman to tell me I'm a good looking man. I don't need a woman to tell me I'm smart. I don't need anybody to tell me that, I can sing or whatever. I don't need anybody to tell me that. I know these things about myself. That's the first and foremost. You need to have, self-love.
Yeah.
Right? You need to find your inner strength, your inner self. Because no matter what you have anybody else tell you, if you don't believe it for yourself, then it's not true. Regardless of what anybody says, it's not true because you don't believe it. So first and foremost, you got to find self-love. And seriously, for you, especially for you dudes, man, you really need to find some self-love. Really, you need to find some self-love because for anyone, if you can take the time out of your day to go and troll somebody and bash somebody else to try and make yourself look better, that just makes you look salty. That makes you look weak as hell. Because a real man, a strong man, and a man who has pride in himself don't need to hate on anybody else to have, to make himself look better. Right? It's just like how in our last segment where you were talking about the guy on the train.
Yeah.
And those girls came and were like, yo, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, they're looking for validation for themselves. So because they're not getting the validation, they're hating on somebody else who's getting the looks, the stares, oh shit, okay. They're not getting that for themselves, so they're getting salty and getting pissed. So I feel like, nobody needs to seek validation from anybody. If you want validation for yourself, seek it within. If you're not seeking it, if you're not getting it from in yourself, if you can't look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm worth it, then no matter what anybody says, it's not going to help.
100%. My turn?
Yeah.
All right. This is like a 3-parter. So I'm going to start with me personally.
Okay.
I've been getting this a lot. They're saying that I'm trying to seek validation. I'm just like, how? I am prideful on what I do. So I'll post it on my social network. Just to say like, yo, I'm about to do this new venture. Here it is. If you want to follow, follow. If you don't, you don't. And then people will call me and text me like, either, yo, you're doing too much when you sleep, or you're only putting this stuff out there to seek validation or kudos or trying to stunt on other people. I'm like, no, I am proud of what I've accomplished in my 27 years of living. I am doing new things. I am trying to be as much as an entrepreneur that I can. So if I want to post, hey, I'm about to go do this new lounge or take a photography, follow me. I'm not seeking your validation like, oh my God, I knew you could do it, or great, I'll be following you. No, but if you're gonna come and attack me saying I only do it to validate myself and boost my ego, you got me messed up. I do it because I am proud of what I am doing. So I'm not seeking no validation. Second, for the men, this is what you need to do. Either in the morning or in the night, strip butt naked, look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what am I looking for? What will better me in the long run? What are my insecurities? What are my pros? What are my cons? You have to be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, others around your camp is not going to be honest with you. So strip butt naked and look at what are your flaws. By doing that, you wouldn't need validation from girls like saying, hey, you look sweet, or come breed me, or whatever the case may be, like, oh, you drive a nice car, where do you live, or you live there, oh my God, like, you don't need that stuff. You don't need somebody to level you up, or even calculate your value for them. You know what you're worth. You know your time. You know your investment. You know your net worth. Don't let somebody else estimate it for you. You know what it is, especially for you men out there. You gotta realize that we are the prize. It's not the other way around. We're the ones that should be getting our time and effort evaluated. It shouldn't be the female's time. It's our time. They have to be proud that we took them, not the other way around. We're the prize. We're the catch. We're the high value. For females now, it's hard for them because you have IG and like
Knew it was going there. Knew it was going there.
like for females, like for me personally, I like a girl that posts pictures but not of her body, like her face or some knowledge shit. Um, that posting your body and stuff just to seek validation from men, and then when men critique your body and you get butthurt or you get more of a high, there's something wrong with you. You Nobody is hiding the goodies anymore. like I'm sorry to say, like you could see a girl on IG, like, all right, I see the body now, I seen everything. What else is there? It's not like a mystery box. You know what I'm saying? Like the goods already out there. So when you get it now, it's like, oh, I already seen this, or I already had a picture in my mind because of your IG photos. Nothing's a surprise anymore. Nothing is a hunt. It's not a challenge. Like nothing is exciting anymore. You can go on, like I said, like IG. If the person's not private or whatever, you can sculpt their whole life in literally 3 minutes. What they like, they dislike, their favorite color, where they like to eat mostly, where they like to go turn up. It's all there on your phone. And it's like, all right, if this really is the real you, I seen everything already.
Yeah.
If this is not, I'm intrigued to find out who is the real you. But a lot of people don't want to show the real self. They want to be fake. They want to be a doll. They want to be a shell. And then when they finally want to show themselves, you're already gone because you're sick of it. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for either guys and girls. Validation, you shouldn't be seeking it regardless. You shouldn't be seeking that at work, from your family and friends, from that random person on TTC. You should validate yourself.
Yep.
That's all I gotta say.
Side note. So, I was, see, because you're talking about this whole IG thing, right?
Yeah.
Girls on IG that are looking for that validation and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook today.
Okay.
And this girl I follow on Facebook, she put out this post saying that, how she's pissed because all the guys that want, like, every guy that she gives, her attention to, all they want to do is just start, like, turning the conversation sexual right away.
Yeah.
And she's like, why is it that these guys only think I'm just a blonde girl with a big ass and big tits, but they don't think that there's anything more about me? And I sat there for a minute, right? And so I'm like, hold on, let me go in the comments.
Okay.
Go in the comment section. I want to see what people have to say.
Yeah.
And all the dudes that were leaving comments were like, yo, I'm not like that. Blah, blah, blah.
The simping.
That's so sad, I can't believe somebody would do that to you.
They're simping.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like,
they lying.
You lying like a motherfucker. Like, sorry to cuss, but you guys are just lying. All you're doing is just, giving certain validation because you want to look like you're a good guy. But what a real person would say to her, and if you're listening, I'm going to say this. the problem that you're having is what you put on display, right? It's just like you go to a restaurant, right, and somebody gives you like a 12-ounce T-bone steak, puts it down in front of you, and you're like, "Oh, sweet, this is a T-bone steak. This is my steak, my meal."
Yeah.
And then they tell you, "Oh, yeah, but no, that steak isn't really a steak. It's a vegan substitute." Right? And you're like, "But that's not what I see here. I see a steak." Like, no, it's not a steak. It's a vegan substitute. That's what you're basically doing to the world. You are putting one thing on display, which is your body, which is completely like every picture I've seen that how you have on display.
She's naked or twerking.
Yeah, pretty much naked or in lingerie or whatever.
Yeah. Bikini.
And then you're saying, like, why are dudes always just talking about something sexual? Because you're displaying...
Your content is sexual.
Yeah, you're displaying your sexuality. That's all you've been displaying. And if that's what you continue to display...
People are going to think you're sexual.
Yes. And I'm not trying to knock... Like, understand, I'm not trying to knock females and whatever. I'm
100%.
I'm just trying to explain to you that when you are putting something on display, that's what people are expecting. So it's like, for me, if I put out on my IG everything having to do with music, it's just music stuff, people assume that I am involved in music.
Yeah.
If I put out, like, I have a lot of stuff that has to deal with Caravana, if everything I have to deal with on my IG has to deal with costumes and Caravana, they figure that that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
So if you're displaying in every picture on your IG is just you half naked in lingerie and whatever, they think, and especially if it's not like you're doing like